everyone, Astrid here. Welcome to AviArt Lesson 4, and this is called Spring Derby. So here you see we're going to make our Spring Derby babes. It's a very Kate Middleton and very Brit. If you watched the Royal Wedding, you saw the amazing, fabulous hats that everyone was wearing. And spring is coming, so it's inspired by those two things. What you're going to need to start with is to find a fabulous picture of a great hat that you want to use. So head on over to Google Images or wherever you like to find your images and grab one of those. And then you're going to need a beauty shot of your Avi. So dress her up in the wardrobe, in your wardrobe or the shop, and style her with the hair and the makeup and jewelry. And you can dress her or not. You just need just below the shoulders in that shot. So I'm actually going to draw the dress on later, and I'll show you that. And then the last thing you're going to need is a beautiful spring-inspired background of your choice. So those three things. And once you have those, you can go ahead and remove the backgrounds from the hat and your Avi. And you should be left with something like this when you're done. So as you can see on mine, we have a little bit of a problem. What I want is the hair to come over the hat a little bit. So depending on the hair you chose and the hat you chose, you may end up with a little problem like this. So I'm going to show you right now how we fix that. And with the magnifying glass, I'm just going to zoom in here a little bit, and I'm going to take the polygonal lasso tool to cut out the areas where I want our hair to shine through. But first we have to just move the opacity a little lower, just until you start seeing the hair outline. So I've got at 65% there. And then you can just click right on the picture and just follow the line. I'm just following the top brim of the hat here right now. And then just follow the line of the hair and the curves. And every few pixels, I'm just clicking down with the mouse. And we're going to select this portion. Now, you see here that I have this, on this hairstyle, a wisp of hair. So if you chose something like that as well, we're going to grab that later and also delete it. But for right now, we're just going to get these big areas. Now, if you go a little over, as you can see, I'm going a little bit over the hairline here. That's okay, because I'll show you a fix for that in a little bit. And again, we're just at the top of the brim of the hat here. And you just go over to meet your first line, and when that little circle comes up, you just click down and that'll select it. And then you hit delete on your keyboard. So now we're just going to go in and grab some of these little wispy lines as well, pieces. Now there's other tools you can use. You know, you could use the eraser brush for something like this. And the more you work with Photoshop, you'll figure out what's comfortable for you. I just find that with this tool, you can be a little bit more precise and get a little bit closer to the edges. And And especially if I have a pretty steady hand, because I'm also used to drawing on the keyboard, but you know, this is just easier, so, and faster, I think. Oops. So again, just following those lines and curves. Click at the circle to connect it and hit delete on your keyboard. And I'm just going to grab this last piece up here. And now we're just going to move the opacity back to 100%. See how it looks. So as you can see, you know, there's some lines here that I went over. So let's just make another layer right behind the Avi face. So you just select the background layer, and then here on your layer panel, click new layer. I'm just going to call this hat and hairline fixes. I like to just label the layers right away, just so you can keep it straight. If you get a phone call or a fabulous date or a good offer to go out, then you can save it and come back later. And all your layers remain intact and labeled, so you remember what's going on. So now I'm just going to, with the eyedropper tool, I'm just going to choose one of the darker colors in the hat here. And then with the paintbrush tool, I have it set at 14 here. If you're doing really fine work, you just want to adjust your brush size accordingly. But 14 is fine. And then you just start drawing where those white lines are. So as you can see, it just fills it up nicely. And no one is ever the wiser that you went over the lines. So, okay, that looks pretty good. The next thing I want to do, depending on the hat you chose, and maybe this won't be relevant to what you're doing right now, but maybe someday you'll be working on something else where you have a situation where it's like a sheer fabric, like this ribbon. So as you can see, you know, it's not shining through, or the background is not shining through like it would be realistically. So I'm going to remove this, and then I'm going to draw in a new ribbon and lower the opacity of that ribbon, or of that layer, so it looks like a sheer ribbon. So just with the magic wand tool, and this is just going to be kind of just rough. I don't even want to get all the pieces, so just like that. Click and delete. And normally you can hold the shift key down to get more pieces, but I actually want some chunks to kind of stay in there. Just like that, very roughly. Like that, like that. And maybe a few little pieces in there. Maybe grab that one too. Okay, so just like that. We want to make another layer now under the hat. So select the Avi face layer, click add a new layer. I'm just going to call this hat ribbons. And I think I'm just going to use the exact same color. You want something a bit darker because remember you're going to adjust the opacity on it. It's going to turn out lighter. So even though this looks kind of crazy right now, when we lower the opacity, you'll see it looks right. So just draw those areas in. Sorry, I'm not sure if I mentioned, but I'm using just the paintbrush tool again. And again with a number 14 brush. So now we're going to go back over to that layer and just decrease the opacity. This is 60, 59%. If we just zoom out a little bit, which is lots more realistic of the size of the picture I'm going to use, you can see that looks pretty good. So, and that's it for that part. So now I'm just going to draw on the, I just want to make the black part of her top here to match. I'm just going to select one of the kind of brighter pinks. And it's okay that I'm going over here because I'm going to crop this when I'm done. So just follow the line at the top if you're doing the same thing, or if you've dressed her in your wardrobe in something, then you obviously don't have to worry about this part, but try not to take too long here. And I'm just going to use a darker shade of the same color for the shading here. I'm just doing this really fast. Normally I'm a bit pickier about my lines. Okay, so that is, that's good. Now what I want to do is I want to add a shadow behind her. Not really like a realistic shadow. I just want it just to give some depth to the picture, make her pop out a little bit from the background. But as you can see, we've got a whole bunch of different layers right now. We've got the hat and the ribbon fixes, the Avi face, and the hat and hairline fixes. So we want to merge all the layers, everything except the background. So just select the bottom, hold the shift key, and then click the top layer, right click, and select merge layers. And I don't want that. And then you're just, oops, why is it doing that? And now you're left with one layer with your Avi on it, with the hat and everything. Now right click again, we want to duplicate this layer. Drag it down below the Avi. And this layer we're going to make into a black silhouette so that we can blur it. So just image, adjustments, hue, saturation. Move the lightness bar all the way to the black side and hit OK. And I'll just make the Avi visible again. And then while you make sure you're still on that layer, select Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and I want to make it quite high. Like I said, I want it to really give it some depth. So I'm using 45 pixel radius here, and I think that looks good. And then when you're all done, if you've got any outside lines you want to crop, it's the crop tool, and there you go. And that is how we make our spring derby beauty. So please, feel free to add your own touches. Add, if you want to stylize the hat with some flowers and extra ribbon and birds or whatever crazy things the Brits all put in their hats. Some of them are pretty elaborate. Please feel free. Be unique, add your own touch, your own spin to it, and have fun. I can't wait to see all your spring derby beauties. Thanks. Bye.